Jax's revenge domain.
We need young talent, not dinosaurs. Damien pointed right at me. Room went dead quiet. I checked my watch and smiled. Interesting approach. The guy had no clue I owned 32% of his company. Look, I'm Wesley Sterling, 49 years old, and I've been building systems that keep Sterling Tech running for 28 years. But sitting in that conference room with 25 other people suddenly finding their notebooks real interesting. Nobody knew who I really was. They didn't know about my ownership stake. They didn't know my brother Vincent founded this place. And they sure didn't know that in 3 days at our anniversary dinner, Damien Walsh was about to get the shock of his life. But let me back up and tell you how this whole mess started. I joined Sterling Tech right out of college when it was just Vincent and 6 other guys working out of a converted garage. My big brother had this crazy idea about revolutionizing data processing, but couldn't balance a checkbook to save his life. During my interview, he's trying to fix a busted cooling fan with a screwdriver and pure desperation. If you can make this work, he says, I'll hire you no matter what your degree says. Took me 4 minutes. Popped the cover, cleaned the bearings, rebalanced the blade. Sometimes the simplest problems have the simplest solutions. Vincent looks at me like I just discovered fire. Apply that to our server architecture and you'll save this company. 6 months later, that's exactly what I did. Spent nights fueled by coffee and stubbornness, designed an efficiency system that turned our struggling startup into what eventually became an industry leader. When things stabilized, Vincent wanted to make me a partner, not interested in managing people. I told him I want to build systems. He got it, but insisted I take serious equity instead. You saved us, Wes. This makes sure you always belong here. For 26 years, that promise held until Damien Walsh showed up 8 months ago. This guy was 34, had an MBA from Wharton, and walked around like he owned the place. Board brought him in as innovation director to modernize everything. Within weeks, he's rearranging desks to cluster young employees together, pushing these rapid development sprints that favored quick thinking over careful planning and systematically shoving out anyone over 40. Tech world moves too fast for traditional thinking, he announced at his first company meeting. We need people who grew up with smartphones. I watched quietly as experienced colleagues started disappearing. Impossible deadlines, getting cut out of meetings, public criticism. Each time someone left, it was natural attrition or failure to adapt. HR now staffed with Damien's former classmates, rubber-stamped every termination. Then he came for my project. I'd been refining this efficiency system for months, real breakthrough stuff. He reassigned it to Sophie Rivera, recent MIT graduate. When I offered my documentation to help with the handoff, Damien cuts me off. We're looking for modern solutions, not legacy thinking, he says, steering Sophie away. Don't worry about Wesley's notes. Start fresh. That night, I fired up my '87 Harley, rode the back roads for 2 hours, letting the engine clear my head. Carburetor was running rich, needed adjustment, just like this whole situation. Next week, Damien strikes again. Moves my desk to a corner by the supply closet, away from my team. Downgrades my system access to read only in our shared workspace. My comments just get ignored. Nothing personal, he tells me during my performance review. We're shifting toward digital natives who understand modern users. I nodded. I understand completely. What he didn't understand was that I kept working on my system at home. The core algorithms were mine, developed on personal time with documentation proving it. And this system, it could cut operational costs by 35% while boosting productivity by 42%. Pretty good for dinosaur thinking. So 3 days after the dinosaurs comment, I'm getting ready for Sterling Tech's 30th anniversary celebration. Instead of my usual cactus and polo, I put on a sharp navy blazer and the vintage Rolex Vincent gave me for my 10-year anniversary. When I walked into that downtown venue, conversations just stopped. Sophie comes up first. Wesley, you look great. Thanks. Special occasions and all that. Across the room, Damien's holding court with board members, waving his hands around describing his grand vision for the company. Hadn't noticed me yet. Vincent spots me and walks over with that energy he's had since we were kids. Guy's 72 now, but still moves like the day he built this company from nothing. There he is, Vincent says, giving me a hug. My secret weapon all these years, Damien glances over, suddenly curious about me talking to the CEO. Vincent takes my arm. Come say hello. Most of these new board members never properly met the guy who saved this company. As we walk toward Damien's group, Vincent raises his voice. Everyone knows my brother Wesley, right? Without him, none of us would be here today. Damien keeps that polite smile, but I can see the confusion. Vincent, you've mentioned Wesley's contributions. Has he told you about our recent collaboration? We hadn't collaborated on anything but whatever. Wonderful, Vincent beams. Then you know you're working with the guy who designed our core architecture and still owns 32% of the company. And that's when Damien's champagne glass tilted sideways. Liquid splashed all over his sleeve. Face went white as he connected the dots. 32%. He repeats, dabbing his cuff with a napkin like that's going to help his situation. Wesley could have been CEO if he wanted. Vincent keeps going, completely oblivious to Damien's meltdown. Instead, he keeps building brilliant systems. Speaking of which, how's that efficiency project coming? Board's been asking. Before Damien could stumble through an answer, I jumped in. Actually, I've been developing some new approaches I'd like to share. Maybe at tomorrow's executive meeting? Vincent claps his hands. Perfect. Damien, put that first on the agenda. Rest of the evening, I could feel Damien's eyes on me. Guy made several attempts to corner me for a private chat, but I stayed busy with other colleagues. A lot of them seemed pretty surprised to learn about my ownership stake. Funny how that works. Next morning, I showed up early for the executive meeting. Boardroom filled up with curious faces, some I'd known forever, others hired under Damien's new world order. Vincent at the head of the table, Damien positioned right next to him like some kind of lieutenant. When Damien saw me setting up my laptop, he comes over with this fake smile plastered on Wesley. I want to apologize for any misunderstandings. If I'd known about your history with the company, no need to apologize. I cut him off. Today's not about the past. Vincent calls everyone to order. Wesley's got something important that could change how we operate. Listen up. I plugged in my laptop. Past year, I've been working on an efficiency system that'll revolutionize how we work. Eliminates redundancies, streamlines everything, increases productivity while cutting burnout. Started clicking through slides showing metrics from my private testing. Energy in the room shifted. These executives saw dollar signs and started leaning forward. This looks incredible, says the CFO. When can we roll it out? That's what we need to discuss. I said, this system isn't company property. I developed it independently on my own time. Got extensive documentation proving ownership. You could hear a pin drop. Damien's expression went from confusion to panic as he figured out where this was heading. I'm offering to license this system to the company, not give it away. Annual savings will be over $15 million based on conservative numbers. Name your price, CFO says immediately. My terms aren't about money. I look straight at Damien. I want oversight by a new age diversity committee with real authority over hiring and promotion. I want mandatory workplace respect training for everyone, especially management. And I want a mentorship program pairing experienced workers with new hires, so knowledge flows both directions. Room erupted in whispers. Vincent's grinning like he knew this was coming. This is unusual. Damien finally spoke up. Creating new power structures based on personal grievances seems. Is there a personal grievance here? Vincent interrupted, voice still friendly but eyes sharp. Everyone's staring at Damien now. You could see him sweating. What Damien means, I said carefully, is that organizations have to evolve. Sometimes that's bringing in new talent. Sometimes it's valuing what you already have. Best companies do both. Click to my final slide, detailed implementation plan with Damien as executive sponsor reporting to the diversity committee. This gives everyone what they need. Company gets a game-changing system. New employees learn from veterans. Experienced workers stay engaged while picking up fresh techniques. Management shows real leadership by building bridges instead of walls. Vincent studied the room. Think we need a few minutes to hash this out. Sure thing, I said. Packing up, I'll wait outside. Sat on a bench in the hallway for 31 minutes watching that old clock tick by. Finally, the door opens. Vincent comes out first, poker face on. We'd like you back in. Inside, they'd rearranged the seating. Damien was now at the far end, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Had a legal pad covered with frantic scribbles. We discussed your proposal, CFO starts. While it's unconventional, we see tremendous value in both your system and these structural changes. I kept my face neutral. However, he continues, we've got some modifications. Next hour was pure negotiation. They accepted the Age Diversity Committee but wanted equal representation across all age groups. Loved the mentorship program but demanded measurable results. Agreed to respect training but expanded it to cover all kinds of diversity. Damien stayed quiet the whole time, just taking notes. When we finally reached a deal, Vincent stood up. Think we've got something everyone can work with. Wesley, you good with these terms? I confirmed. With one addition, turned toward Damien. I want Mr. Walsh to chair the implementation team, reporting directly to the diversity committee. Another wave of murmurs. I was basically asking the guy who tried to push me out to report to the same people he'd been marginalizing. Damien looked up from his notepad. May I ask why? Because you're excellent at driving change. I said honestly, your ability to transform systems is exactly what we need. just needs to be applied with more wisdom and inclusivity. He stared at me for a long moment, probably looking for some kind of trap or insult. When he didn't find one, he nodded once. I accept. 2 days later, we held our first diversity committee meeting. 5 members. Me, Damien, Sophie representing the younger crowd, Vincent for the board, and Maria from HR. Our mission statement was right there on the wall: create a workplace that values both innovation and experience. First order of business was dealing with the systematic push-out of older workers. We reviewed every termination from the past 8 months, identified patterns, developed plans to fix the mess. We should offer reinstatement to people who were wrongly terminated, Sophie suggested during our second meeting with back pay.
That creates significant financial exposure, Damien pointed out. Less exposure than the lawsuit that's brewing with former employees. I shot back.
Besides, my efficiency system will more than cover the costs. He nodded. Fair point. Over the next few weeks, I watched Damien navigate his new role. Guy was stiff at first, defensive in meetings, but slowly started engaging with our initiatives. During one session, he actually presented research on age-diverse teams. Studies show mixed-age teams consistently outperform homogeneous groups in problem-solving and innovation, he explained, projecting charts on the conference room wall. They bring complementary skills and perspectives that neither group achieves alone. Huh, I said. What changed your mind about dinosaurs? Room got tense, direct reference to his insult. But Damien looked me straight in the eye. Data changed my mind. I was operating on assumptions instead of evidence. That was unprofessional. Wasn't exactly an apology, but it was movement. The mentorship program launched next. We paired experienced employees with newer team members for bidirectional learning. Sophie and I got matched up. During our first official session, she brought her laptop to my desk, which they'd moved back to the main area, by the way. I've been struggling with your efficiency system, she admitted. The underlying architecture is way more complex than anything I've worked with before. Show me where you're stuck. Spent the next hour working through code together. I explained why I'd structured certain things the way I did. She suggested cleaner approaches to several functions. By the end, we'd created something better than either of us could have built alone. This is actually working, she said, sounding surprised. The mentorship thing. Yeah, but more than that, she gestured between us. This whole collaboration across experience levels. I always figured older workers would be set in their ways. Some are, I admitted, just like some young workers think they know everything. Both attitudes kill growth. She nodded. Did you ever feel that way? Like you had it all figured out until I was about 33. Then I realized how much I still didn't know. That's when my real education started. Company atmosphere started shifting over the following months. The initial awkwardness of forced collaboration gave way to genuine appreciation for different perspectives. Teams reorganized to include age ranges instead of clustering by generation. My efficiency system's productivity metrics showed steady improvement across all departments. Not everyone was thrilled with the changes. 2 executives quit rather than adapt to the new culture. Several younger employees complained about mentorship requirements, seeing them as obstacles to quick advancement. We kept adjusting, refining, pushing forward. But Damien's evolution was the most surprising part. The arrogant manager who dismissed older workers became a passionate advocate for inclusive practices. During one implementation meeting, he confronted a project lead who suggested sidelining an older programmer. That's exactly the thinking we're working to eliminate, Damien said firmly. Experience and innovation aren't mutually exclusive. They're multiplicative. After the meeting, I caught up with him in the hallway. That was unexpected. He slowed down to match my pace. Which part, your defense of inclusive teaming? Seems genuine now. He thought about that as we walked. When you've been publicly wrong about something fundamental, you've got 2 choices. Double down on the mistake or learn from it. I chose learning. Takes guts to admit you were wrong, I said. Not as much as you think. The data supporting diverse teams is overwhelming. Following evidence isn't courage, it's basic competence. 6 months after being called a dinosaur, I stood before the entire company at our quarterly all-hands meeting. Auditorium was packed, everyone curious about our transformation results. When we started this journey, some saw it as correcting past wrongs. Others viewed it as unnecessary disruption. Today I'm sharing numbers that speak for themselves. Screen lit up with our performance metrics. Productivity up 39%, employee satisfaction increased 26%, turnover down 44%, innovation measured by patents and new products up 48%. These results didn't come from favoring one group over another. They came from recognizing that wisdom and fresh perspective both have value. That institutional memory and new approaches can work together. That respect isn't just morally right, it's profitable. From the stage, I could see Damien in the front row nodding along. Next to him sat Sophie, who'd recently been promoted to team lead while continuing her mentorship role. Vincent watched from the back with that proud but not surprised expression he's had since we were kids. We've proven that age diversity isn't about political correctness or lawsuit avoidance. It's about building stronger, more resilient, more innovative teams. And this is just the beginning. Applause was nice, but the real payoff came afterward. Employees from every age group approached me with stories about how the new culture had improved their work lives. A programmer in her 50s said she finally felt valued again. A recent graduate credited his mentor with helping him navigate a complex client situation. A mid-career designer explained how collaborating with both younger and older colleagues had transformed her creative process. Later that afternoon, Damien knocked on my office door. He was carrying a folder and looked unusually hesitant. "I wanted to discuss something before our next committee meeting," he said, settling into the chair across from my desk. "Shoot. I've been researching best practices for sustaining diversity initiatives long-term. Data suggests that without ongoing structural support, most organizations revert to previous patterns within 18 to 36 months. I raised an eyebrow. "You're worried our changes won't stick?" "I'm concerned about making them permanent," he corrected. "That's why I developed this proposal." He handed me a document outlining comprehensive sustainability plans, quarterly culture audits, succession planning requiring diverse candidate pools, compensation tied to inclusivity metrics, ongoing education requirements. "This is thorough work," I said, scanning the detailed timelines. "It has to be. Cultural change is fragile without structural reinforcement." I studied him over the document. "You've come a long way from that dinosaur's comment." Flash of discomfort crossed his face. "I said things I regret, but I never directly apologized for them." He straightened up in his chair. "Wesley, I apologize for my disrespectful and discriminatory behavior. It was unprofessional, harmful, and completely contrary to effective leadership. I'm sorry." Words hung in the air between us. Simple, direct, long overdue. "Apology accepted," I replied. "Though your actions these past months already said more than words ever could," he nodded, seeming relieved. "There's something else I need to tell you. I've been offered a position with another company. Better title, higher salary, impressive equity package." "Congratulations," I said. "When do you start?" "That's just it. I'm turning it down." "Why?" "Sounds like a great opportunity." "It is." He agreed. "But they want me for what they called my aggressive modernization approach. They specifically mentioned admiring how I'd refreshed the workforce here before our recent changes." I got it immediately. They want the old Damien exactly. And that person doesn't exist anymore. He closed the folder. "I've learned more in the past 8 months than in my entire previous career. I'd rather build on that growth than go backward for twice the money." The irony hit both of us. Guy who'd called experienced workers dinosaurs now saw his former self as outdated. "Well then," I said, "let's talk about your role in this sustainability plan. If you're staying, you should lead it." His eyebrows went up. "You'd trust me with that?" 8 months ago? Absolutely not. Today, without question. 1 year after being called a dinosaur in that conference room, I sat in the same space surrounded by a completely transformed company. The diversity committee had become permanent governance with rotating membership. Mentorship program expanded to include cross-departmental pairings. My efficiency system was fully implemented with ongoing improvements suggested by teams spanning multiple generations. Damien now served as Chief People Officer, overseeing culture and talent development with an inclusive practice focus. Sophie had been promoted to lead technical implementation of new systems while I kept developing solutions that combined decades of experience with emerging technologies. Looking around during our latest strategy session, I could see what real revenge looked like. Not humiliation or firing or public embarrassment, but transformation. The man who'd tried to push me out now championed the very values he'd once dismissed. The company that had allowed discrimination now led the industry in inclusive practices. The culture that had devalued experience now recognized it as essential to innovation. Sometimes the most powerful response to disrespect isn't retaliation, it's reformation. Not destroying your opponent, but converting them into an ally. Not winning a single battle, but changing the entire war. Vincent joined me for lunch in our company garden that afternoon. New space we'd created as part of the wellness initiative. Gray-haired employees were mentoring younger colleagues on benches while recent graduates showed veterans new apps on their tablets. "I never doubted you'd make an impact," Vincent said, watching the interactions around us. "But even I didn't expect this level of change." "Neither did I admitted. Just wanted to stop the discrimination. You accomplished much more than that." He gestured toward the collaborative groups scattered throughout the garden. "You created something that'll outlast both of us." As the afternoon sun hit my face, I realized he was right. My revenge hadn't been exposing my ownership or embarrassing Damien or even implementing my system. It had been proving that respect for experience isn't just morally right, it's essential for innovation. that wisdom and fresh perspectives both matter, that true power doesn't come from your position or title, but from building systems that ensure every voice contributes to success. 3 months later, Damien presented his sustainability plan to the full board. Every metric showed continued improvement, employee retention at all-time highs, innovation pipeline stronger than ever, customer satisfaction scores climbing steadily. The age diversity initiative has become our competitive advantage, he reported. We're attracting top talent across all age groups because word's gotten out that we actually value experience here. After the presentation, the board voted unanimously to make our practices the template for expansion into new markets. Other companies started reaching out, wanting to understand our approach. You know what the best part is? Damien said as we walked back to our offices. We're not just succeeding despite having older workers, we're succeeding because of them. The data's irrefutable now. Funny how that worked out, I replied. Not funny, inevitable, we just had to stop being stupid about it. That evening, I fired up the Harley for a ride through the countryside. Engine purred perfectly. I'd finally gotten that carburetor adjusted just right. Sometimes the oldest machines run the smoothest when properly maintained and respected. At a red light, I pulled out my phone and saw a message from Sophie. Wesley wanted you to know the efficiency system just helped us land the biggest contract in company history. Client specifically mentioned our mature approach to innovation as a deciding factor. Thank you for showing us that experience isn't baggage, it's ballast. I smiled and put the phone away. The light turned green, and I rolled on the throttle, heading home. 6 months ago, I'd been written off as a dinosaur. Today, that same dinosaur thinking was driving record profits and industry recognition. The kid who'd tried to push me out was now my strongest advocate, and the company my brother and I built was stronger than ever. That's what happens when you respond to ignorance with education, to prejudice with proof, and to disrespect with results. You don't just win, you transform the game itself. Now I want to hear from you. Have you faced age discrimination at work? Whether you were dismissed for being too young or written off for being too old, how did you handle it? Did you fight back, adapt, or find another way forward? Share your experience in the comments below because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. There's real power in sharing these experiences, not just for validation, but for developing strategies that change workplaces for everyone. When we create systems that value all perspectives, everybody wins. That's not just good business, it's the right thing to do. And sometimes, doing the right thing turns out to be the smartest strategy of all.